I tried to tell him.
What are you doing? You okay?
Yeah. Yeah, I really am okay.
What's going on in that head of yours?
Dawson's Creek wasn't just a teen drama. It was a revolution disguised as hormones and vocabulary words. A show where nobody talked like real teenagers, but everyone wished they could. But behind the creek and the coming-of-age angst, nothing was innocent. The cast despised their characters. The creator fought everyone, and one secret almost destroyed the entire franchise. These are 20 secrets about Dawson's Creek hidden for decades. And the bonus? A prop that disappeared and became worth more than anyone imagined. Number 20. Kevin Williamson, based Dawson. On himself and everyone hated it.
But girlfriend?
This is a very unhappy birthday.
I didn't say that. I said I'd been seeing somebody.
Seeing someone? What the hell does that mean, Dawson?
It's okay, don't be shy.
Kevin Williamson created Dawson Leary as a love letter to his younger self, a sensitive film-obsessed teenager navigating impossible emotions in a small town. The problem was, Williamson remembered himself far more sympathetically than reality justified. He wrote Dawson as the hero, the moral center, the guy everyone should root for. But audiences saw something different. They saw a whiny, entitled, self-absorbed narcissist who treated the people around him terribly while believing he was the victim. James Vanderbeek, who played Dawson, realized this immediately. He'd read scripts and think this character is unbearable, but he was contractually obligated to make him work. The disconnect between Williamson's intention and audience perception created a bizarre dynamic where the show's supposed protagonist became its least popular character. Joey was more interesting. Pacey was more likable. Even Jen, written as the damaged outsider, resonated more authentically. Dawson became a joke. His crying face turned into memes decades before memes existed. Williamson never fully accepted this, insisting people misunderstood Dawson's depth and sensitivity. But the truth was simpler. He'd written a character he thought was profound and created someone insufferable, proving that nostalgia lies and we're rarely the heroes of our own stories. Number 19. Katie Holmes was terrified of kissing scenes.
I live and breathe. Oh, good God, you're heavy.
Watch it, winner.
I don't really feel so good.
Well, guess what? You're gonna feel even worse tomorrow morning. And you still won't be...
Katie Holmes was 18 when Dawson's Creek started, a Catholic girl from Ohio who'd barely been kissed in real life, suddenly required to perform intimate scenes in front of cameras and crew members. The terror was paralyzing. She'd shake before romantic scenes, hyperventilate in her trailer, need extensive coaching just to get through a simple kiss. James Vanderbeek tried helping, being gentle and professional, talking her through every moment. But nothing could eliminate the fundamental horror she felt being vulnerable on camera. The situation worsened when the show became a hit, and she realized millions would watch these private moments. The anxiety evolved into panic attacks, Holmes needing therapy to continue working. The producers considered recasting, worried she couldn't handle the role's demands. But Holmes was too perfect as Joey, her genuine awkwardness translating as authentic teenage uncertainty. So, they worked around her limitations, shooting kissing scenes quickly with minimal takes, giving her space to recover between setups. Years later, Holmes would describe this period as traumatic, the pressure of performing intimacy before she'd fully experienced it, privately warping her understanding of relationships. She'd learned romance as performance, choreographed and artificial, which perhaps explains why her later real-life relationships seemed equally staged and disconnected. Sometimes the camera captures more than acting. Sometimes it steals something essential, leaving only the performance behind. And number 18. Joshua Jackson and Katie Holmes dated secretly.
It's cooperation. Hey, it's Meryl Streep's fault, okay? I'm doing the best.
Bite me.
While the show pushed the Dawson and Joey romance relentlessly, Joshua Jackson and Katie Holmes were involved off-screen, conducting a secret relationship that everyone suspected but nobody could prove. They were careful, never arriving together, maintaining professional distance on set, but their chemistry was undeniable. The crew knew, watching them disappear between takes, noticing the way they looked at each other when cameras weren't rolling. The secrecy was strategic. The WB had strict policies about cast relationships, worried that breakups would destroy on-screen chemistry and create production nightmares. So Jackson and Holmes hid it, sneaking around like actual teenagers despite being adults. The irony not lost on either of them. The relationship lasted roughly 2 years before ending quietly, both parties moving on without public drama or messy revelations. But it changed everything about how Pacey and Joey's scenes played. The tenderness wasn't just acting, it was real emotion, barely disguised as performance. When Joey chose Pacey over Dawson in the series finale, it felt right because the actors had chosen each other first, their genuine connection overpowering whatever the writers had originally intended. That authenticity is why Pacey and Joey became one of teen television's most beloved couples, why their relationship still generates passionate defenses decades later. Real feelings create real magic, even when hidden behind scripts and fictional names. Number 17. James Vanderbeek fought to make Dawson less insufferable.
I'll see you at school.
Bye.
Bye.
Here.
Look, I came early. It's really getting ugly out there.
Not half as ugly as it got back there.
James Vanderbeek spent 6 seasons trying to save Dawson Leary from Kevin Williamson's worst instincts. Every script that arrived, Vanderbeek would read Dawson's dialogue and cringe, recognizing how badly the character was being written. He'd argue with writers constantly, suggesting changes that would make Dawson more self-aware, more capable of growth, less relentlessly the victim of circumstances he'd created. Sometimes the writers listened, well, usually they didn't. Williamson in particular resisted changes, protective of his avatar character, unwilling to acknowledge that Dawson needed fundamental reconstruction. Vanderbeek's frustration grew each season, the gap between the character he wanted to play and the one he was required to embody becoming unbearable. He'd deliver Dawson's self-righteous speeches while internally screaming, his face occasionally betraying how ridiculous he found the material. Observant viewers could see it, moments where Vanderbeek's real feelings leaked through the performance, creating cognitive dissonance between what Dawson was saying and what the actor's eyes revealed. The behind-the-scenes battle over Dawson's character became legendary among the cast and crew. Vanderbeek's determination to inject humanity into an increasingly unlikable protagonist, both admirable and futile. By the final season, he'd essentially given up, delivering lines with professional competence but no real investment, just wanting the show to end so he could escape a character that had become a career albatross. Number 16. The show's vocabulary was deliberately pretentious.
Problem is that from the moment Little Miss Highlight showed up, you haven't said one word to me.
Crap! That is pure crap, and you know it.
All I know is that all your blood is rushing down when you can't even acknowledge another human being is even.
After all these years of hiding behind highbrow analytical posturing,
I'm saying it. I love you.
Nobody on Dawson's Creek talked like real teenagers because Kevin Williamson didn't want them to. He deliberately wrote dialogue that was verbose, reference-heavy, and impossibly articulate. Teenagers discussing Fellini and Freud with the fluency of graduate students. Critics mocked this relentlessly, pointing out that actual 15-year-olds don't speak in perfectly constructed paragraphs laden with SAT vocabulary words. But Williamson defended the choice, arguing he was writing aspirational dialogue, showing teenagers how they could communicate if they fully engaged their intelligence. The cast hated it. They'd get scripts and struggle with the dense language, trying to make speeches sound natural when every instinct screamed, "This is ridiculous." Michelle Williams was particularly vocal, complaining that no human had ever spoken the way Jan was written. But the pretentious dialogue became the show's signature, part of its identity for better and worse. Some viewers found it insufferable, proof the show was out of touch. Others loved it, appreciating television that treated young people as capable of complex thought and articulate expression. The debate continues decades later. Dawson's Creek either elevated or insulted depending on perspective. What's undeniable is the dialogue's uniqueness, how instantly recognizable the show's voice became. You could hear 10 seconds of a Dawson's Creek conversation and know exactly what you were watching. The vocabulary itself a character, distinctive and polarizing and impossible to ignore. Number 15. Michelle Williams was miserable the entire time.
Movie sucks.
Don't you dare, that movie rules.
Yeah, right. Next.
I don't know. I'll be right back.
Should you go out there?
This is my job, Tammy.
Michelle Williams signed on to Dawson's Creek as a teenager and spent the next 6 years regretting it. She hated the scripts, finding them pretentious and emotionally false. She hated her character, believing Jen was written inconsistently with motivations that changed based on plot convenience rather than psychological truth. She hated the grueling television schedule, 22 episodes a season, filmed in North Carolina, far from her real life. Trapped in a job she'd committed to before understanding what that meant. Williams would show up to set visibly unhappy, delivering performances with technical proficiency but no joy, counting days until her contract expired. The other cast members noticed but couldn't help, everyone dealing with their own struggles. Williams coped by compartmentalizing, treating the show as a day job that financed her real passion for serious film work. She'd use hiatuses to do independent movies, roles that challenged her, working with directors who respected actors as collaborators rather than puppets delivering lines. Those projects sustained her, proof she was more than the show that was making her famous while culling her creatively. When Dawson's Creek finally ended, Williams never looked back, refusing reunion appearances, rarely discussing the show in interviews, making clear she considered it a chapter best forgotten. Her subsequent career vindicated that choice. An Oscar-nominated actress who transcended teen television completely. But the cost was 6 years of misery. Youth spent hating her job. Success that felt like prison. Number 14. The Creek Wasn't Even. In North Carolina?
With Aunt Georgia, there was this market.
Yeah, in that square by our flat.
And you were just running from cart to...
End of the day, it's your life. It's not your dad's, it's not Jack's, it's not mine, it's yours, and you get to live it.
The show was called Dawson's Creek and set in the fictional town of Capeside, Massachusetts, but filmed almost entirely in Wilmington, North Carolina. That wasn't the weird part. The weird part was the actual creek featured in the opening credits and countless establishing shots wasn't in North Carolina either. It was in South Carolina, hours away from the production base. A location scouts had found during initial pre-production. The creek was so visually perfect, so exactly what they needed, that the production team decided it was worth the logistical nightmare of traveling there repeatedly for footage. They'd send a small crew several times per season, filming hours of material they could use throughout episodes, creating the illusion of proximity when the cast never went there. The actors would film dock scenes on sets and local waterways around Wilmington. Then editors would cut to the South Carolina Creek footage, the magic of editing selling a geography that didn't exist. This deception was maintained throughout the show's run, viewers never knowing the iconic location existed hundreds of miles from the actual production. When fans started visiting Wilmington for Dawson's Creek tours, they'd search for the creek and find nothing matching what they'd seen on television. Local tour guides learned to explain the truth, that the show's namesake location was somewhere else entirely. A beautiful lie that worked because nobody questioned it. Number 13. Busy. Phillips was written it, and as a favor and never left.
Pacey.
You're out of line, Audrey.
Of course I am. Anyone messes with the one that got away, and you get all up on...
Audrey, you look great in that dress.
Really? No. Forget it. I don't deserve to talk to you. I don't even
Pacey. Phillips was supposed to appear in 3 episodes maximum, a small recurring role as a favor to her friend Michelle Williams, who'd lobbied for the producers to hire her. Phillips needed work. Williams needed someone she actually liked on set. It was meant to be temporary, but something unexpected happened. Phillips brought energy the show desperately needed in later seasons. Her character Audrey provided comic relief and chaotic authenticity that contrasted perfectly with the emotional heaviness everyone else was drowning in. The writers loved her, audiences responded enthusiastically, and what was supposed to be a brief appearance turned into a regular role. Phillips moved to North Carolina, signed a contract, became part of the main cast, all because a 3-episode arc worked too well. The irony was, Phillips also found the show's dialogue pretentious and ridiculous, but she had the advantage of arriving late, with no reverence for what Dawson's Creek had been. free to mock it lovingly while participating in it. Her scenes with Williams were the only time Williams seemed genuinely happy, real friendship translating into authentic chemistry that made their characters' relationship the show's most believable. Phillips later said, "Getting cast on Dawson's Creek changed her life, launching a career that otherwise might never have happened. A favor between friends became a professional break disguised as luck, proof that sometimes the smallest opportunities create the biggest changes." Number 12, the show's young demographic, terrified network censors.
True love is out there?
There's no slip registered under that name.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Pacey's out there?
Pacey and Jen.
Look, Pacey doesn't have any register.
Oh, God. I'm so embarrassed. Good old Mary Beth. Creating scenes wherever she...
Dawson's Creek pushed sexual content boundaries further than any previous teen drama, and network censors fought the producers constantly over what could air. The show featured teenagers discussing sex explicitly, engaging in sexual relationships, dealing with consequences like pregnancy scares and STDs, all presented matter-of-factly rather than as cautionary tales. Standards and practices would flag scripts weekly, demanding changes, and Kevin Williamson would fight back, arguing teenagers actually experience these things and deserving honest representation. The battles were exhausting and repetitive, both sides entrenched in philosophical positions about responsibility versus authenticity. The compromise was usually the show pushing boundaries slightly less than Williamson wanted, but far more than censors preferred. Everyone unhappy, but the content airing. What made it controversial was the show's audience skewed young, actual teenagers watching and potentially influenced by what they saw. Parent groups protested, arguing Dawson's Creek was teaching kids about sex too early, normalizing behavior that should be discouraged. The WB defended the show publicly while privately demanding it toned down, caught between creative integrity and advertiser concerns. The tension never fully resolved, each season repeating the same arguments, scripts becoming battlegrounds where nobody won completely. Looking back, the content seems tame compared to current television. But in 1998, Dawson's Creek felt dangerous, a television that acknowledged teenage sexuality existed, refusing to pretend kids were innocent when everyone knew better. Number 11, Joey's poverty was inconsistent and offensive.
In the world to my friend, Jen Lindley, on her birthday.
Well, thank you very much, Joey, but,
I wanted to let you know that you don't have to kiss. There are other things that, well, hi. My name's Tom.
Joey Potter was supposed to be poor, the scholarship kid from the wrong side of the creek, her financial struggles central to her character. Early episodes established this carefully, Joey working at the Ice House restaurant, wearing obviously secondhand clothes, unable to afford things her wealthier friends took for granted. But as seasons progressed, the writers forgot or stopped caring about consistency. Joey would suddenly have designer clothes, expensive equipment, money for trips and activities that made no sense for someone supposedly broke. She'd complain about being poor in one scene, then appear in an outfit worth hundreds of dollars in the next, the contradiction never addressed or explained. The sloppiness was insulting to viewers who'd connected with Joey's financial reality. If his class struggle treated as a character trait, writers could toggle on and off based on plot convenience. Katie Holmes tried maintaining consistency through her performance, but she couldn't overcome scripts that ignored their own established facts. The problem reflected a larger issue with how television written by wealthy people portrays poverty, treating it as aesthetic rather than reality, something characters wear like costumes rather than live as condition. Joey's inconsistent economic situation became symbolic of the show's overall relationship with authenticity, committed to emotional realism in some areas while completely abandoning it in others, picking and choosing what to care about based on what served immediate storytelling needs. Number 10, the series finale, almost ended completely differently.
You got me. You got me.
Touch with my family, my friends, you. And you and me together is the only thing that ever made sense to me, and I forgot that.
The Dawson's Creek finale, where Joey chooses Pacey, wasn't the original plan. For years, Kevin Williamson intended for Joey to end up with Dawson, the full-circle completion of their childhood connection. Destiny fulfilled despite obstacles. Scripts were written, scenes planned, the ending that seemed inevitable from episode 1. But something shifted during production of the final season. The writers saw that Pacey and Joey's relationship had evolved into something more mature and genuine than what Dawson and Joey represented. That forcing the original endgame would betray character development that had happened organically. The debate in the writers' room was intense. Williamson reluctant to abandon his vision, but recognizing the emotional truth of what they had accidentally created. Test audiences were divided, some wanting the Dawson ending for nostalgia, others arguing Pacey made sense for who Joey had become. Ultimately, they chose growth over nostalgia, letting Joey pick the person who challenged her rather than the person who'd known her longest. The decision enraged some fans who'd invested 6 years expecting a specific conclusion, but it satisfied more, validation that television could honor character evolution even when it contradicted original intentions. Looking back, it was the right choice, the ending that made thematic sense even if it wasn't the ending Williamson had always imagined. Sometimes stories know where they need to go, better than their creators do. Number 9. Pacey was supposed to be a minor character.
Go as those dance lessons.
Have a little faith in me. Have a little faith in me.
Pacey Witter was never meant to matter. Kevin Williamson wrote him as a comic relief, the goofy best friend who'd provide laughs between Dawson's emotional crises. Joshua Jackson was cast accordingly, a charismatic actor perfect for delivering one-liners, but not someone the show would build storylines around. The first season treated Pacey exactly this way, a supporting player with minimal depth. But Jackson refused to accept those limitations. He found layers in throwaway lines, brought vulnerability to jokes, made Pacey's insecurity and loyalty feel authentic rather than cartoonish. The writers noticed, started giving him more material, testing whether he could handle dramatic scenes. He could. He was better at them than anyone expected, bringing naturalism that contrasted beautifully with the show's typically heightened dialogue. By season 2, Pacey was getting substantial storylines. By season 3, he'd become arguably the show's most interesting character, his relationship with Joey generating more passionate fan response than anything involving Dawson. This wasn't the plan. Williamson had structured the show around Dawson as protagonist, but audience preference and Jackson's talent forced adaptation. The shift created tension. Writers who'd conceived a specific vision forced to acknowledge that organic character development had created something better. Pacey's elevation proved that characters can outgrow their creators' intentions, that actors bring dimensions writers never imagined, and sometimes the best stories emerge from accidents rather than designs. Number 8. The Capeside High set. Burned down. Mid-production.
Would you care to continue reading your now very public work of poetry?
Midway through season 3, the Capeside High School set caught fire and burned substantially, destroying sets and equipment worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. The fire started after hours, electrical malfunction or careless cigarette depending on who you asked. And by the time firefighters arrived, significant damage was done. Production shut down immediately. Scripts rewritten frantically to work around missing locations, everyone panicking about whether the season could be completed on schedule. The insurance investigation took weeks, delaying everything, cast and crew uncertain whether they'd even have jobs by the end of it. The network considered canceling the show entirely. The financial hit combined with production delays making continuation questionable. But Dawson's Creek was too valuable, ratings too strong, so the WB committed to rebuilding. The new sets were constructed quickly but looked noticeably different, longtime viewers spotting changes in layout and design that were never explained on screen. The writers handled it clumsily, pretending nothing had changed, hoping audiences wouldn't notice or care. Most didn't, but the observant fans saw everything, discussing the differences online, creating timelines of before and after. The fire became Dawson's Creek lore, a real-world disaster that affected the fictional world in ways the show refused to acknowledge. The disconnect between reality and television performance complete. Number 7. Kevin Williamson left. After season 2, and the show suffered.
Oh, this feels at home, a little return to form for you as well. So I'm looking at the poster, it says, from the creator of Dawson's Creek and Scream.
Circle. And that is the ultimate, if you don't come of age during that, then, if nothing thrust you into adult.
Kevin Williamson created Dawson's Creek, wrote the pilot, and established the show's voice and vision. Then, after season 2, he left, walking away to pursue film opportunities and other television projects. The departure was amicable publicly, Williamson claiming he'd always planned to transition to consulting producer rather than showrunner. But behind the scenes, the exit was messier, disagreements with the network about creative direction and frustration with the demanding television schedule pushing him out. His absence devastated the show's quality immediately. The writers who took over lacked Williamson's specific voice, his ability to balance pretension with heart, his understanding of these characters he'd created. Storylines became sloppier, character motivations inconsistent, the dialogue maintaining pretentiousness while losing the emotional authenticity that had justified it. Fans noticed immediately, season 3 marking a clear decline, despite being the season that solidified Pacey and Joey's relationship. The show continued successfully for 4 more seasons after Williamson left, ratings remaining strong enough to justify continuation. But creative cohesion was lost, Dawson's Creek becoming a show without a singular vision, written by committee. Its original identity diluted into generic teen drama. When Williamson returned to write the series finale, it felt like homecoming, but also highlighted everything that had been missing, his voice distinct from what the show had become in his absence. Number 6. Mary Margaret Humes and John Wesley Shipp were barely in later seasons.
Like glass of wine.
Yeah, sure. What is your mom up to?
Same as you.
Same as who?
No, nothing.
Well, for starters, you punched me.
If you came looking for an apology, you're barking up the wrong tree.
No, I don't need one.
Mary Margaret Humes and John Wesley Shipp played Dawson's parents, major characters in early seasons when the show focused on family dynamics alongside teen relationships. But as the series progressed and the kids aged, the parents became inconvenient, their presence limiting storylines and reminding audiences these were children, not adults. So the writers systematically removed them, reducing appearances until they barely existed. Mitch was called off in a car accident, a shocking death that generated brief attention before being largely forgotten. Gail essentially disappeared, mentioned occasionally, but rarely seen, her actress appearing in scattered episodes when contractually required but otherwise absent. Humes and Shipp were hurt and confused, having signed onto a show where they were series regulars only to find themselves written out without explanation or warning. They tried fighting for better treatment, but television economics are brutal. Adults less interested in target demographics than beautiful teenagers. The budget savings from reducing their episodes helped fund other priorities, their salaries redirected toward bigger guest stars and special effects. The disrespect was blatant, longtime cast members treated as expendable when the show no longer needed them. Both actors moved on to other projects, their careers surviving, but the experience left scars, another example of how this show that presented as emotionally intelligent treated the people making it with casual cruelty. Number 5. The show made Wilmington, North Carolina, a tourist destination. Before Dawson's Creek, Wilmington.
My job. Oh my god, you're on a first name basis with the bank.
Please stop being so dramatic. Just answer the phone and ask her if I can call her back.
Kids.
You have 3.5. I want you to be with someone, whether it be Dawson or a New York guy or some man that you haven't even met yet. But I want you to be with someone.
North Carolina was a mid-sized southern city with a modest film industry and no particular tourist identity. The show changed everything, putting Wilmington on the map as the real-life Capeside, attracting fans who wanted to visit places they had seen on television. Locals were initially confused by the attention, unprepared for teenagers showing up, asking for directions to Dawson's house or the restaurant where Joey worked. But the economic opportunity was obvious, businesses quickly adapting to capitalize on the show's popularity. Tours started, restaurants put up Dawson's Creek memorabilia, the city officially embraced its connection to the series. The tourism continued long after the show ended, new generations discovering it through streaming, Wilmington remaining a pilgrimage site for fans 2 decades later. The economic impact was substantial, millions in tourism revenue directly attributable to 6 seasons of filming. Dawson's Creek, putting Wilmington on the cultural map permanently. The relationship wasn't entirely positive. Locals sometimes resenting the association, tired of being asked about a television show rather than the city's actual history and culture. But the money was undeniable, and Wilmington made its peace with being known primarily as where Dawson's Creek filmed, accepting that fictional geography had become more famous than reality, that the show's legacy was now inseparable from the city's identity. Number 4, Katie Holmes. Left early to film Batman's Begins.
It is a little racy. We do push the envelope a lot, just about every episode, every scene. We deal with real issues. You can't deny.
All-time most life-altering moment.
Ever?
Ever.
Well,
Katie Holmes' commitment to playing Rachel Dawes in Batman Begins created massive problems for Dawson's Creek's final season. She'd signed on to Christopher Nolan's film before knowing it would conflict with the show's production schedule, assuming she could balance both. She couldn't. Batman Begins required months of filming, and while Holmes tried shuttling between projects, the logistics became impossible. The Dawson's Creek writers had to rewrite the final season drastically, reducing Joey's screen time, creating explanations for her absence, restructuring storylines that had been built around her character. The other cast members were frustrated, the show's final year damaged by its female lead being partially unavailable. Holmes felt terrible about it, but had made the strategic calculation that Batman Begins was more important for her career than Dawson's Creek's finale, film offering opportunities television couldn't match. She was right professionally, but wrong ethically, her choice prioritizing future prospects over current commitments. The series finale managed to work despite these constraints. Holmes present for key scenes, editors stitching together her limited availability into something coherent. But it wasn't what anyone wanted, the ending compromised by circumstances that shouldn't have existed. A disappointing conclusion to 6 years of television because one actress chose correctly for her career while abandoning the project that had made her famous. Number 3, James Vanderbeek's Post. Dawson's career struggled because of typecasting.
I mean, honestly, just take a poke. Get it over with. Save us both a lot of time and trouble. Wouldn't involve our friends.
Or family.
All-time most life-altering moment.
ever?
Ever.
Well, there are a lot of winners.
James Vanderbeek spent years after Dawson's Creek trying to escape Dawson Leary and failing spectacularly. Hollywood saw him as that character exclusively, unable to imagine him playing anything else. Every audition haunted by his most famous role. He'd read for parts and casting directors would say, "You're Dawson," as if that explained why he couldn't possibly play a detective or a villain or anything requiring range. The typecasting was suffocating. Vanderbeek watching former castmates like Katie Holmes and Michelle Williams transition successfully to film while he couldn't get arrested. He tried theater, independent films, anything to demonstrate versatility, but the stink of teen television followed him everywhere. The irony was cruel. His 6 years on a hit show had made him unemployable in serious projects. Success turning toxic, fame becoming prison. Vanderbeek spent over a decade in career wilderness, taking small roles, reality show appearances, anything that paid. His star dimmed from what it had been. The resurrection came eventually, his willingness to mock himself on shows like Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23, showing self-awareness and humor that helped audiences see beyond Dawson. But the lost decade was real. Years wasted fighting perceptions, created by playing a character he'd never even liked. His career nearly destroyed by the very show that was supposed to launch it. Number 2, the theme song. Almost ruined the show before it started.
I don't wanna wait forever to be over right now.
I Don't Want to Wait by Paula Cole became inseparable from Dawson's Creek. the perfect opening theme that captured the show's melancholic yearning. But it almost didn't happen. The song was released in 1997, a year before the show premiered, already moderately successful on adult contemporary radio. When producers approached Cole about using it for their teen drama, she was hesitant, worried the association would cheapen her artistic credibility, that serious musicians didn't do television theme songs. Her label pressured her, seeing the promotional value, arguing television exposure could boost album sales substantially. Cole reluctantly agreed, convinced partially by money, but mostly by promises the show would be quality television, not disposable teen garbage. She was right to worry. While the song's association with Dawson's Creek did increase its popularity, it also locked her into that identity permanently. Paula Cole becoming the Dawson's Creek lady rather than respected adult contemporary artist. Every concert, fans would scream for the song, not because they loved her music, but because it reminded them of television. The resentment Cole felt about this never fully disappeared. Grateful for the financial windfall, but bitter about the artistic cost. Her complex relationship with the song, emblematic of how television consumes everything it touches, transforming art into nostalgia, musicians into soundtracks, meaning into merchandise. Number 1. The cast had a group pact never to do a reunion.
Stop me. That's not true, Pacey. I tried to tell him.
What are you doing? You okay?
Yeah, I really am okay.
What's going on in that head of yours?
Unlike most beloved teen dramas, Dawson's Creek has never had an official reunion. No special episodes or cast interviews together, nothing beyond occasional pairs appearing on the same talk show. This isn't accidental. The main cast made a pact years ago never to do an organized reunion, an agreement born from their collective complicated feelings about the show and each other. James Vanderbeek resents how the show typecast him. Katie Holmes wants distance from her teenage image. Michelle Williams barely acknowledges it existed. Joshua Jackson is the most positive but respects the others' wishes for separation. They're not enemies exactly, just people who shared intense years they'd rather not revisit. The experience too complicated to package into nostalgia. Producers have offered substantial money for reunion specials, streaming services desperate for content that guarantees viewers. The offers keep getting rejected, the pact holding despite financial incentives that keep increasing. What makes this unusual is how unified they remain in refusing, suggesting their shared trauma from making the show created bonds stronger than temptation. They're protecting something, maybe each other, maybe themselves, maybe just the right to let the past stay past. In an era where every show gets reunited and rebooted, Dawson's Creek's refusal stands out. A collective no from people who gave enough the first time and have nothing left to give now. Bonus fact, the original pilot script was significantly darker and got rejected.
I love this movie. This won the Oscar, didn't it?
Gandhi. Spielberg was robbed. This is before he outgrew his Peter Pan syndrome.
But Gandhi?
Yeah, my grandfather's aorta collapsed, and so they had to replace it with this plastic tube, and my parents sent me to help out for a while.
Kevin Williamson's first draft of the Dawson's Creek pilot was far darker than what eventually aired. Teenagers dealing with sexual assault, drug addiction, and suicidal ideation in the first episode. The script was brilliant but terrifying, establishing a show that would confront teenage reality without sanitization or comfort. The WB read it and panicked, recognizing the quality but knowing advertisers would flee from content this heavy, aimed at young viewers. They demanded rewrites, insisting Williamson lighten the tone substantially while maintaining emotional depth. Williamson fought initially, but eventually compromised, understanding that the darker version would never air, that making the show at all required concessions. The revised pilot kept hints of darkness, enough edge to differentiate from typical teen dramas, but pulled back from the abyss the original script had explored. Some of that darker material got used in later episodes, storylines spread across seasons that in the original pilot would have hit immediately. Williamson has never released the original script publicly, protecting it as an artifact of his purest vision before network notes and commercial reality's forced adaptation. Occasionally excerpts leak online, fans reading and imagining the show could have been darker and more challenging, possibly more impactful, definitely less commercially viable. The tension between artistic integrity and commercial necessity exists in every television show. but rarely as clearly as in the difference between what Williamson wrote first and what audiences eventually saw. Dawson's Creek didn't just capture teenage angst. It created it, packaged it, and sold it back to us as nostalgia, while the people making it suffered through realities far messier than any script.